Hey everybody, we have the cherry on the cake of the Chinese car industry today. It's a cherry. I understand it's a Tiga. I don't know which one. They've got Pro Max Luxury. It's basically the same car. I think they changed the headlights, changed the nameplate, and that's probably it. That's it. Standard here for some reason 1.6, although usually the Chinese have a 1.5 engine. Perhaps it will turn out to be 1.5. Anyway, this is a brand new car. We've dismantled it now in order to put a protective film on it. You can imagine, now people are investing 300,000 rubles in these cars to cover them with film, because this car has become expensive. Once it cost $1 million, probably $2.5 million, up to $3 million, perhaps even less. Now I understand it costs $4.5. But even for this money, yes, you should be worried. You should insure it with a helmet, or at least cover it with a film. But what the Chinese have succeeded in is in lights, headlights, and monitors. About, again, their performance and quality of illumination is difficult to say. I think it is unlikely to be an analog of BMW headlights, but nevertheless, appearance, a bunch of backlights, a bunch of diodes. At one time, when, in my opinion, Audi made these diode running lights on the A6 or on the A4, everyone was delighted. Now it is a given. But the Chinese have succeeded in this by quantity. By the way, the washer tank looks like some kind of wags, I think. But before I begin to show, I will say from myself that the first thing that catches the eye is the metal. It even looks very thin. It's not the worst in terms of quality, but there are plenty of joints. Let's start, for example, as you can see, I think, is the engine control unit. Do you see how it stands? It's right above the fender. But this part here, by the way, is already, you see, rusting. And quite a lot of dirt gets in here. So sooner or later, most likely, well, knowing the super Chinese quality, something may happen to the control unit. Although in principle, it should be a very reliable thing. I once bought a 221 Mercedes that was on fire. That was when it was a year or two old. Here was this control box that was completely melted on the outside, but the inside was intact. It was amazing when they took it apart. It looked like charcoal, but there was naturally something melted inside, but overall, everything was in place. But I don't think you'll get that quality here. And Mercedes doesn't have that quality anymore, but I'll show you some more fun stuff here. This video is probably more for those who look at these Chinese toys and think whether to buy or not. Because there are tons of paid bloggers praising these cars right now. But again, keep in mind, a Chinese car that costs 10 million rubles, conventionally, and a Chinese car that costs 5 million rubles. These are two different Chinese cars, both in terms of price and quality, most likely, as I think. Here, of course, is the segment that, so to speak, is inexpensive, although it is also, with a stretch, inexpensive in the current situation. Believe me, that in terms of quality, I think that very much you will see videos in which you will see everything. You will understand everything. I'm still here just in general terms. In general terms, showing specifically just the bodywork. But if you talk to the same cab drivers who are on these cars, by the way, pay attention. You can see how everything is attached. It's very cool looking. I was riding with a cab driver in a jack car. It's a year-old sedan, but it's already out of gear. 89,000 kilometers. The cabbie said it stopped working at 30. I mean, you have to let off the gas when you shift. That's the only way it changes gear. He told me a more interesting story, that his replacement, working on the same car, his electric parking brake went off on the move. And it spun around. He was traveling with the passengers. All right, everybody's safe, but nothing happened. I mean, just lucky, but there's a lot of similar videos online now. And you realize that on one side are bloggers who shout that they are in a hurry. And on the other side, just people who post what happened to them. Now we have had frosts all over Russia, such extreme frosts, and a lot of interesting information has also appeared. In general, I understand that you should not expect super quality from the Chinese. Again, if they cost, as they used to, there, 2 grand, right? That would be considered normal. Well, there, some kind of competitor to the conventional lady, right? But when now our government has created deliberately hothouse-friendly conditions for the Chinese, and we are forced to overpay for this not very good quality, to put it mildly, well, at least double the price tag, perhaps triple. I just don't know how much this car costs in China. Perhaps it costs, just there, 1.5 million rubles. Therefore, I think it is worth thinking 100 times. Then again, there is the fact that the Chinese are getting cheaper. I think you've all noticed I've posted a couple of videos using the example of the same Xikro, which originally cost about 10 after a year. It now costs 6 pennies. Same thing with the Lysiangs, which are rapidly dropping in price. It is clear that these cheap cars, they are a little slower to fall in price, but they will also fall in price, so take your time. By the way, about these frames here, right? He's just shown a piece of it. Here it is painted, isn't it? Well, everybody thinks it's paint. No, it's not paint, it's film. Well, in Russian, you could say duct tape. Everyone will write in the comments that it's the same on Toyotas somewhere else, but that's not good. Well, why? I mean, if it's on a Toyota too, it doesn't mean it's good. Just now, he showed where the mirror is put. The moment it's gone, there's already rust there too. Mind you, this is a new car with no mileage. New, in cellophane. You see, the film is overlapping. So, anyway, if there's any damage, you'll have to re-glue the whole thing. I mean, that's saying something. I'll show you later. The thing that really struck me, I'm just somehow used to seeing that assembly line cars, it's got to be generally normal yearly quality. It's not a Ferrari, it's not a Maserati. The fact that they're handmade there is a piece of cake. There are supposed to be joints to be found. There should be. Multiples more than here, because, you know, there's human factors. All that. But no, here are these mass-produced cars, conveyor cars. The Chinese have. If you look again, I just have a glimpse, well, I am not immersed in the Chinese car industry. Thank God, I work with other cars. But again, if you scavenge information on the internet, it makes sense even. Probably, if you are looking for something, just look for targeted information. Probably somewhere to fix it, and then if you want to, check for all these defects of the car you will buy. Believe me, this time spent is worth it, I'm sure. And there is an incomprehensible story with the warranty. Cases of refusal under warranty are a lot. There are not dozens of them. I think there are at least hundreds. And the officials have a lot of these cars lying around for which there are simply no spare parts. So once again, think about it. This is how the self-tapping screw attaches the fender. It's just screwed onto a self-tapping screw. The self-tapping screw is tucked in with paint. That's saying something, I think. That's the whole point. The cherry on the Chinese cake. Why cherry? Because cherries. You get my sarcasm. I think cherries are like that. Rotten. But that's not my prejudice against these cars. I just think that everything has a buyer, everything has a buyer, but everything should cost what it should cost. Here, we have overpriced at least twice as much. And that's for sure. I'm sure of what I'm saying. If anyone is ready to argue something, please write in the comments. I'm ready to chat, I think, and all the viewers who are watching with pleasure on this topic, I'm sure will have a chat. So don't be shy, write comments, bring your cases. We can discuss this whole case. By the way, if someone has some video material about the reliability of these cars, send it to me. We can also upload all this stuff to the site, to the channel, to YouTube, anywhere. And under your name. Copyright, please. We still have to get the truth out to people. I'm in favor of the truth, so I think you are too. But that's pretty much it for today. I'm gonna get back to work. You all have a good time watching. Be sure to write in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, what you can add. That's about it. Have a good show, everybody. Bye.